Hi, my name is Mona. Welcome to my channel. This is the first YouTube video I've ever done. I felt compelled to do this because I've gone through some life challenges, experiences, and I wanted to explore some things about living day to day like most people. I do the same thing, work, and I come home, I cook, I clean, I talk to my children, my grandchild, doing life. But I want to talk about when the suddenly happens while you're doing life. When that happened to me, I had the suddenly happen to me on October 9th, 2017. I was actually at dance rehearsal at my church. I'm a praise dance worshiper, giving God the glory, as I do every Monday and every Saturday. And after about an hour of warm-up and stretching and praising, I felt fine. No problems, no signs of anything impending. As a matter of fact, I was teasing with another dancer, and all of a sudden, a co-dancer said I stopped what I was doing and I appeared to come towards her as if I was going to give her a hug. And she said, "Mona, all of a sudden you went like this." And she said, "Your whole body went stiff as a board and your eyes got fixed and dilated." And she said, "You started falling and it looked like slow motion." But we know it wasn't, because when I fell, I remember thinking, "Ow, that hurt." And oddly enough, I heard everything. I heard the other dancers running around. I heard them yelling, "Someone get ice, someone get water." And another co-dancer works as a nurse in a hospital, and she said she doesn't need ice or water. Call 911. Now understand that I'm 60 years old. I've never had any health issues. I've been healthy most of my life, and I try to eat healthy and exercise. As you know, I'm at dance class, I ride bikes, and do the treadmill. So I'm thinking on the floor, call 911, I'm going to get up soon, I don't need 911. I actually thought I tripped on my feet. And my friend said, "No, you weren't moving, you were standing still when this happened." And so laying on my back, as I hear all the commotion, I hear one of the dancers say, "I got 911 on the line," and she's saying to the operator, well, she's conscious, but she's slurring her words. Now I thought to myself, she obviously can't hear me because I'm on the floor and she's standing above me and she just can't hear me. I'm not slurring my words. And she had me say the sentence, "The early bird gets the worm," and I know I said it because in my mind I was fine. And then she said, "Miss Mona, don't worry. We have the paramedics coming." And I thought, the paramedics? Oh no, I don't need the paramedics. But they came and they asked me questions. "What's your name? What day is it? Where are you?" And very confidently I told them all the answers, and so I thought, see, I'm fine. I know the answers, I'm fine. And the paramedic said to the other paramedics, "Ma'am, could you please squeeze really tight our hands?" And so I'm squeezing, and the one said to the other, "There is no reactivity on the left side." And I thought, well, how could that be? And her face is facial asymmetry. So at that point, I was curious, but my dance instructor, who happens to be the pastor's wife, said I was laying there as they were praying in the spirit, and I was saying, "Jesus, Jesus," over and over, "Jesus, Jesus. That's the only name I know. That's the only name that has power. That's the only name that I have confidence in. Jehovah." So as they put me on the stretcher, I knew that my Jehovah Rapha, my healer, was going to take care of the situation. So I was calm, and I got to the ambulance on the stretcher. One of the other dancers said, "Can I ride along?" And he said, "No, ma'am, this is a code 3. A code 3. Even though I didn't know exactly what he meant, I knew it was serious. So in the ambulance, before we took off, I prayed. I said, "Lord," I said, "they said I can't move on my left side. They said that my face is crooked and that I'm slurring my words. And Father, this is Mona, like he didn't know. Standing in the need of prayer. What am I doing here? Off we go. And if I tell you that that ambulance flew down the freeway, I'm not exaggerating. Like the wheels didn't even touch the ground. We were there in no time. And in the ER, the doctor said, I need a line in this woman's stat. If I don't get a line in her stat, I'm going to lose a lot of brain tissue. I'm thinking, I'm still calm because I know that my Jehovah is with me. And one of the nurses that was there must have thought she's way too calm for this. She said, ma'am, would you like to see what we're seeing? So she took her phone, made it into a mirror, and she said, now smile. And I smiled and my face was crooked. And I thought, how odd. So they got the IV into my arm, started, and got to a room. And there's a medication they give. The doctor said in the ER, he said, I'm not sure, ma'am, if you've had a stroke, but I'm going to treat you as a possible stroke victim. Because he asked me, do you smoke? No. Do you have hypertension? No. Do you have diabetes? No. Do you exercise? Duh. I was at dance class, and so I told him, I'm very active. I'm very active. What about your cholesterol? Any problem with that? No, I don't have cholesterol problems. Well, he takes me to the room, and they get this medication started. And I'm praying because I'm looking at my legs, and I said, Lord, just a little bit ago, I was worshiping you with both hands and both feet. And I took my hand, and I went like this, the left hand, and it went. And I asked my husband, I said, could you put your hand in my left hand? Because they said that I couldn't feel anything, and he did. He said, do you feel that? And I said, no. No, I don't feel it. So anyway, as I'm laying there and the medication just started, and I said, Lord, do you think I could move my left leg now? Because I moved my right leg and it was still working in my right hand. I heard the Spirit of God said, go ahead and move it. And I went like this. And I said, hey! And the nurse had her back to me. She was charting. And she kind of looked over behind her back. Because I don't think she thought it was possible that anything was happening. Because they just started the medication. And then I prayed, I said, Lord, what about my left hand? He said, move. And I went, hey! And I saw my husband running down the corridor, and he saw me, and he went to get the doctor, and the doctor came in the room, and he said, oh! He said, ma'am, he said, take my hands. He said, squeeze. And he took his finger, and he said, do this, follow my finger, say this, words, and all the tests. And he said, oh, well, it's nothing short of a miracle, he said to my husband. And my dance instructor, Felicity Cunningham, was in the room with me, and he was confused. And he said, I don't have the test yet from the MRI, but we'll get confirmation on what has happened. So a few hours later, he comes back in and he said, you did indeed have a right-sided cerebral vascular accident, CVA, meaning stroke to the right side of your brain. And he said, actually, that clot went to your brain and it took a path like this and landed and did like a bifurcation on your brain on the right side. And he said, there's fragments of the clot still there. I said, are we going to take it out? He goes, no, it's too dangerous. But he was so amazed because he said, all your labs are negative. Well, for 5 days I was in the ICU, and I had neurologists coming in and asking me questions, and they thought maybe you have a hole in your heart. Possibly that's what happened, and that's how the clot traveled and got to your brain. And I knew in my spirit, I don't have a hole in my heart. And they took me downstairs, did a procedure where they could look into my heart. And he said, and if I don't find a hole in your heart, he said, I'm back to ground zero. Well, they didn't find a hole in my heart. And all my labs were still coming back very normal. And he shook his head. And every day they said, oh, you're going to be in long-term rehab. But I'm going to tell you this. Within 24 hours, I was up doing my own self-care. Therapists were walking me down the corridor, and they were amazed too. I was a little wobbly, but not like they expected. And how many know when God has his hand on you, it's the unexpected. It's not the expected. It's the impossible made possible only by God. So they decided, well, it could possibly be, because I told them that my dad had an embolus back in the late 60s, and they discovered he had a syndrome that had him throwing clots all the time. And so he's been on the Coumadin since the late 60s. And they said, that's probably it. You have that. Well, they did tests, probably a page of tests, and the doctor discharged me and saying to me, ma'am, He said, I expected to discharge you into a long-term nursing rehab facility. He said, and so I don't know. I said, but God, it was Jesus. And he said, yes, ma'am, God. So just to tell you this, and I'm going to wrap this up because I could just tell you, even weeks of him following me, he found no genetic connection with my dad at all. And when I went home, I went back to dance the next day, even though my family members said, don't go. And I said, if I go and I'm worshiping God the next day after I'm home, what better way to go than worshiping God? I hope this encourages you, because he is Jehovah Rapha, our healer. I hope to see you soon.